If you recall from our interview with Bodine in episode 1, he mentioned that he had a fuzzy memory of a news report with a witness to Darren's killing. We found that what he was referring to was an interview filmed by friends of Darren's, Darnell Singleton and Amir Brandy, who had gone to the crime scene immediately after hearing that Darren had been murdered. After filming this interview, Amir formed an independent media company called Real STL News. They were kind enough to share that interview with us. Because the audio isn't the best, we will reiterate what the witness says.
Okay, sitting on the front side, smoking or whatever, and I'm with my partner. I heard a car, a him. So I'm like, oh, let me see what this is.
The man, who was a resident of the Ridgeview Apartments, where Darren's body was found, had been sitting on his front porch smoking when he heard a car with a Hemi engine pull up.
When they came around, it was the Jeep in front. It was a Chrysler 300 with a Hemi in behind that, and it was another silver Ford or a Chevy or something like that. I couldn't really see because it was dark up on the third floor. The Chrysler was like either silver or gray. I couldn't really tell the colors for real because it's dark. Plus, I thought I was tripping.
The witness says there was a train of cars that pulled into the parking lot. Darren's Jeep was in front, followed by what he thought was a Chrysler 300 with a Hemi engine, and in the rear, a silver Ford or Chevy. He wasn't exactly sure about the colors because he was on the third floor and it was nighttime.
So he couldn't even drive it because it was a stick. I realized it was a stick, by the way, that was fucking sounding. Like he almost ran into the bushes. Every time he tried to pull off, it cut off because he's not putting it in gear. I noticed because I know how to drive a stick. I'm like, oh, man, how you gonna steal a car? You don't know how to drive it. I thought it was just a stove. So when he parked it, he couldn't even park it for real because it kept rolling. Like damn, he can't even park the car.
The witness recognized that whoever was driving the Jeep was struggling with the stick shift, and that the driver almost accidentally drove into the bushes. Because of the driver's inability to operate the stick shift, he presumed that the Jeep was stolen.
But the whole time I thought it was a stolo because dude got out the car with some white socks on his hands. It was only one dude that got out.
He was a black guy?
Yeah, black guy. And he had dreads to come think about it. He had some socks on his hand, and he wasn't that big from where I was sitting there. He was probably about your size. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's probably about his size.
About 5'7", 5'8"?
Nah, probably a little bit shorter than that.
Really?
Yeah, because I was up on the third floor, and from what I could see, he didn't look that tall.
Okay.
He did.
The witness goes on to repeat that he thought the Jeep was stolen because the man who got out of the driver's seat, once it was parked, was wearing socks on his hands. He described the man as black with dreads and as not being very tall. He guesses perhaps 5'6" or 7.
He got out the car and ran up to the Chrysler 300, and they pulled off. They went back towards Riverview. And I thought they was going to come back and take the rims off of it because, I'm like, that's a Jeep. Like, they finna come in late there. Like, that's exactly what I was thinking. But the whole time, not knowing there was a body in there.
The witness explains that the driver of the Jeep, with the socks on his hands, got into the Chrysler 300, and that car and the third vehicle, which he guessed was a Chevy or a Ford, both pulled back onto the road and headed towards Riverview. Thinking they would have stolen the rims from the Jeep, he was confused that they drove away and abandoned the vehicle. But what he said next was the most shocking part of his interview.
But a white boy came from Riverview way through the woods, and I'm thinking he's gonna come trying to find him some crack or something. I'm not really paying attention. Then by the time I turn away and look back, the whole car is in flames. Like, the whole thing.
The witness claims that after the two other vehicles departed the parking lot, a white man with a ponytail emerged from the tree line and approached the Jeep. He thought the man must have been out there to buy crack. And after looking away for a split second, he looked back and the Jeep was engulfed in flames.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
What you're looking at is the aftermath of the grand jury deciding not to indict officers.
29-year-old Darren Seals was murdered before his killer set his car on fire.
Once they put out the flames, they discovered Seals' body inside with a gunshot wound.
You point a
guns on me and my 14-year-old little brother. It's Ferguson PD. Grabbed me by my hair, slammed me out the car. He said you might want to pick your enemies better.
This is After the Uprising, Season 2, The Murder of Darren Seals.